already done so, go over to Instagram and subscribe to my channel over there because I'm constantly dropping something that is informative, that is special and made and built for you, my community, my black people. And I try to address societal issues, the things that I see going on in our communities, in and around our communities. Again, once again, go subscribe and follow me over there as well. Once again, we back into the live. Hopefully people start jumping in a minute. I got a couple of things I want to say in regards to the busters. The busters are winning the war in the algorithms. And it's for various reasons why they're winning the war. And I want to just go through that and try to explain it, and hopefully people can, hopefully it resonate, and it come across in a way that is loving and embraced, and not to shame anybody or make anybody feel bad about what they're doing and what they're not doing. But what I want to point out, that because of the lack of education, certain people that get on these airways don't necessarily have the fortitude. They're not built in a witty, clever, intelligent way to where they can address certain issues and bring up certain to explain themselves within the YouTube space or either social media. And what's happening when you see guys like Charleston White, the Poetic Five, or the 6'7" Unk, and I don't know their education level. All I can do is kind of study them and kind of figure out, but I do understand that there's a lot of people from in our inner circles from where we from, and I can name them with Whack 100s, the Spider Lokes, let's see, Bobby Ye, Compton Rick Rock. These individuals are high functional. They may have even been educated under the not necessarily in the public school systems. And I don't know their backgrounds, anything. I'm just speculation on my part. But if you look at their articulation and how they come across and the words that they choose to say, they're not saying on the dead homies and hood and all that. They don't use all that colloquialisms. They talk in correct English. And if you listen to them, you can see that where their knowledge and their information come from a wealth of resources. They do research, knowledge, and understanding. Like myself, I rely on chemistry, science, biology, physics, mathematics. And what's happening is that, and I'm not saying that these guys are, listen guys, when you go against these guys, you better be sharp upstairs, because if you're not sharp, they're going to eat you up. They're going to hit you with the one-liners. They're going to hit you with the data, the statistics. They're going to dig into your background and pull up the research, and you may not like what's coming back at you. So if you go after them, be particular about what you're saying and be factual and get some more information. Just don't go in there, because what's happening, a well-placed pond can be way more powerful than the street king. I'm going to say that again. A well-placed pond can be way more powerful than the street king, because you guys' reputations is built in the parks and the alleys and the penitentiaries and the sidewalks and the corners and behind the liquor store where it was built at. These guys learn. They understand what education does, what reading and writing. They don't fight and shoot. You're on the internet arguing with some guys that is educated different from you, and they look at things from a different perspective. And if you go on the internet arguing with these guys based on your braggadocio, your reputation, your ability to fight and all that different stuff, you're gonna lose at that, because this is the algorithm, it's virtual reality. They're going to say it's content. They're not going to get, guys, be more clever, be witty, be smart, be funny. That's what the algorithm is for. Not to show how tough you were as a kid, because when you get into your elderly stage of life, you're no longer as fast as you were. You no longer can fight as good as you can fight, and you can't stand the stamina and the things that are coming at you in the way they're coming at you from a younger generation. It's kind of dark. Let me put my glass. It's kind of, man, I like for people to see my eyes, because I don't want you to not see my eyes, because I want you to see the sincerity that's coming from me. I don't want you to think that I'm hiding behind anything. I never want to be perceived or looked at that in that way. And what you see, what a lot of guys are figuring out, is that they can trigger you where you emotionally react and they intellectually respond, and you losing that war. Again, they're funny. They got one-liners. They don't did the research. They don't put up the data. They don't put up things about you that you may not ever want to be seen or heard on the internet. So just be mindful of that. And again, you know, I look at a lot of different stuff, and at the same time, all I do is like, wow, I can't do anything about it, because I know that in this day and age, where we're going towards it now, and I know a great majority grew up with this tough guy Mysterio, but some of these guys are what we call autodidactic. Autodidactic meaning they were self-taught, or either they went to a private school or they had some higher type of education. And all you could do is look at their articulation, look at their word choices, look how they frame sentences, look at the verbiage that they use. And if you talking street stuff, you're not gonna win at that, because most of these people in the airways don't speak, act, and do and proceed in that manner. They just don't. So the internet is a universal thing. Just as well as people can hear it in the United States, they can hear it in France, England, Germany, Russia, China, Japan. Maybe not China, because China a little rough over there. North Korea also, they don't play them type of internet games. But you get the gist of what I'm telling you guys. And this is not to shame anybody or make anybody feel good. I want you to just think about what I'm saying, and before you get on here and you crash out over nothing, and you don't realize that they're going to sit back and just happen, and they're going to get you every day. Every day they're going to pull you in, and they're going to be cut. They're going to be looking at their little casting on the little dollar sign in the internet, on the YouTube, and they go bing bing ching 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 every day. It's going to be collected. It's going to be collected based on your emotional responses, and that's just what they're going to do. And if you don't find a way to combat, deal, or educate yourself to where you can articulate yourself in a proper manner, in a useful manner, something, be able to kick the ball back and forth like soccer, because it is a game and it is a competition, but you have to be willing to be competitive in a way that where you can compete and not being caught up in the algorithm based on your toughness, your street reputation, the stuff that you built out on the streets, the alleys, the parks, the corners, and behind the liquor store. That stuff doesn't work in the algorithm. So yes, the busters are winning the war in the streets of the algorithm. Anybody, when I say buster, let me clarify that. The boy the Blocko, buster. The Unc 607, buster. Charleston White, buster. The reason why I say buster to them is because they took our culture and then turned it back in towards us. After they learned enough about it to turn it back towards us, they went off on their own. Because Poetic Fossil was what? He was with Adam 22. Bam. Now he's learned a lot. He's been under a lot of gang members the way he took it enough information. Now he can build his own empire. And all he got to do is see to make you react, trigger you, and say certain things and get you all hot and steam and bothered and out of control. And then you're sitting on the internet looking like a madman, like you done lost your mind. And then the same thing. He's saying he's playing a role. He's saying he's is not. What's it called? I call him charlatan White, and we all know that he's charlatan. If you look at the word charlatan, you know what it is: a phony, a fake, somebody that pretends, somebody that's manipulated. He's a jester, a clown, a bozo. But when you get to like the Spider Lokes and the Bobby Ye's and the Whack 100s and Rick Rock, them dudes are just smart, bro. They're just smart, and they know this internet. They know it. And if you choose to go at them, I just, ain't nothing else I can say about it, because at the same time, everybody get to choose the space they want to be in and the time they want to spend in it based on their own personality, understanding, and how they perceive and interact with people, right? That you in this war, when you're in these interpretations, you got to be well. You got to be fortified. You got to be fortified. You got to have the testicular fortitude and the personality and the tonality to act accordingly in these spaces. Because it's the internet is virtual reality. It is shadow personality. It is, God. Okay, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I hope you guys enjoyed this small video. We'll do more as it go by because I think that the lives are now just something just totally different. YouTube is doing something different, and it's not responding in a way because the market has been oversaturated. You got a lot of individuals that's on here that's not necessarily have the voice or the knowledge or the information, and all they just doing is just making it worse because the culture is looking bad. We have taken the worst of our culture and put it in front of the best of culture. We're not talking about the engineers, the doctors, the scientists, the lawyers, and none of the individuals that are important in our community. We're talking about Sukiana, Section 8, Meg Thee Stallion. And this, now we on this Miami girl with all this, popping tags and scamming, where all my scamming ninjas at, and where all my boosting, where they at, and all this. But I digress, Once again, shout out to everybody that's on YouTube that's making a move, that's making the right thing, that's going strictly to create content and make money and go about and have a nice day. But again, shout out to Mass Rick Rock, shout out to Wax, shout out to Spider Logan, shout out to Bobby Ye, man. They just doing what they do, man. And if you don't like it, I can't tell you nothing else about it because you got your own mind. You can make your own decisions, and everybody ain't got to like something. Everybody got to do something. But just because you see everybody doing something, don't make it right. With that being said, I am Professor Billy Bell, the Hood Postman. Lock the goddamn